Going to get a Super Saiyan God level power up in the latter half of the movie. I am Later Man.
Marvelous!
And eternally on your left, that is Helping Hand 23.
Hello.
So, I should have thought of like a transitionary intro or something, but what do you know about Captain America?
He was basically America wanted him basically in the times of war. I don't remember what war he was in. I think it was either the second or the first. Or World War, I should say.
Well, kind of rose to prominence in World War II, yeah. But...
I don't know too much more about him than that.
Mm. I'll get to what I most know about him later. But we are here to do a movie review, sort of. What do you have for your notes on this Captain America, the first Avenger?
I like certain parts of the movie, and certain other parts I'm like,
I need you to be a bit
more specific. That's just my intro. That's my intro.
Oh, okay.
That's my intro. I like how they show Captain America's past shield and his past version of shield and his future versions of shields. I find that very honoring what he was in the past. I find that very good. The symbolism of Hydra is quietly set up, and I like how they set up Hydra. Mm-hmm. Howard Stark, seeing what he's actually, was interesting to me.
He's also a different actor than he is in most other movies.
Yeah, I know. It was interesting. I was getting to that, how we got a different actor, and couldn't they get the old actor? But maybe they couldn't. Steve and Bucky's team up and bromance, I said, is great. And did they plan for what happens in the future with? I wonder. I can't go too much into it because we're just reviewing Captain America.
Yeah.
I like how they set up why he was chosen, even though his lack of physical strength.
Yeah, that's pretty well. They did a pretty good job, communicating that.
Yeah, jumping on the grenade instead of running away.
Although I'm not sure how smart an idea
that is.
Yeah.
Actually, it will absorb your body will absorb most of the shrapnel and stuff.
Oh yeah.
One person will die.
Yes.
But a lot of people will be saved because of it. If you're a soldier, statistically, it's usually better.
Okay.
All right. But saving your life, no, you want to throw it in a closet or something.
Yeah, I was thinking wouldn't it be easier to just run away as well? But I guess
it's a grenade. It has shrapnel.
You need to establish somehow that he's a hero.
I find the main villain. Can I reveal his name right away, or
yeah, that's fine.
Red Skull's introduction was very well foreshadowed in the painter and stuff. Without giving it straight away. Yes. And I'm well played, because I knew exactly who it was.
Yeah, going back and watching that scene is actually kind of a trip. Because it looks like blood too.
Yeah, it definitely looks like blood. I wonder how they did that. What?
I imagine it's just some pomegranate or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Or there's actually a very specific red berry that's super red that they also often use.
It shows that Steven or Captain America is not immediately the best with his new body right away. He's super strong, obviously, from the serum, but doesn't exactly not used to it, in the first scene he's in, which is immediately someone tries to steal the serum.
He crashes into a few buildings, yeah.
Yeah. I should have saw this a mile away, Red Skull betraying Hitler, I was I think I've heard he does that in the comics too.
Yes. Constantly.
In a very dramatic fashion. And I'm okay, we're gonna go dramatic, okay. The front line doesn't when he started out as a promotional character. I found it interesting for Captain America, being promoted across.
They turned him into a corporate bond seller.
Yes,
he was a symbol before he became an actual hero.
Yeah, which I find was holding up to what he was in World War II. He was a symbol to help sell bonds. I think when they first introduced him. Mm-hmm. So I'm they kept. And I thought, nice to acknowledge that, his old shield was on it too. So, The front line doesn't see him very well. I don't know if they saw. I don't think even the front line back then saw him like as the best, as like comic character.
I mean, he's some dude in spandex going around pretending to punch Hitler, whereas there's people actually dying.
Yeah. I like how Captain America's first actual mission wasn't sanctioned, really. I'm like, how does his shield survive? My question is. Like the first shield. I was surprised. But he saved an entire platoon and Red Skull was revealed. Like, he took off a mask and, like, his face and actually Red Skull. And, like, I like Bucky's response to that. Like, your face is not going to turn like that, right? I found it very interesting. Especially what they do with Red Skull in the future. What was the energy source from what gained from the Tesseract? Was that ever brought up again in the MCU, like the energy things?
Not like I don't think the energy itself has a name, but yes, quite a few times actually.
I can't remember.
It manifests itself in different ways. That energy type appears in Age of Ultron as well.
Oh, right. But, like, I wonder if they can do that after Infinity War.
They would need the stones.
Yeah.
But...
Like, if there's any energy remaining from that.
Possible, but I think they're done with the stones, so...
Yeah. I like... there's some scenes... There's the scene where Captain America obviously doesn't know how... It's, like, kissed by a random woman he barely met. Mm-hmm. Shows like he's very unexperienced with women, like, and like I like that they don't like make Captain America all perfect in the beginning, because he is very, from what his past experience, he was very unexperienced with women in the opposite sex.
It's also the 40s, so
yeah. The Bucky falling scene I should mention again.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just spoil?
Yeah, go for it. It's Captain America.
How did he survive?
He's a super soldier.
But he wasn't back then.
Yes, he was. So when Steve Rogers, Captain America, goes and rescues Bucky, he's strapped to a table similar to the one that he was when he became the super soldier. So it's pretty clear that, I forgot his name, but the small scientist dude was doing some sort of experiment on him.
Yeah.
Probably the super soldier serum.
I didn't get that. My brain, I probably missed.
Because he was also one of the scientists I work with, that other guy whose name I forgot, that gives Steve the super soldier serum. I imagine he might have some knowledge on how to create something at least similar.
Steve can't get drunk. I'm like, hold on. But after that, does that mean the Bucky can't get drunk too?
I don't know. I don't think he has quite the same super soldier serum that Steve has. But that's a weird detail to have to put in.
Yeah, like, you can't get drunk. Your metabolism goes way too fast. I'm like, wouldn't that make it easier to starve too?
Yeah, it raises a whole bunch of questions, but it's Captain America. What are you going to do?
This movie is basically just every action movie back then and now. I'm like, it's great. It's great at what it does.
Some suspension of disbelief is necessary.
Yeah.
Ooh, foreshadowing.
Remote controlled bombs with weird helicopter. Like the weird helicopter from Red Skull had.
Like, and then he had he labeled them real nice too.
Yeah, like the remote. I just wrote the remote control bombs and the weird helicopter.
I want to see the scene where he's sitting down with his arts and crafts. Like, ooh, this one's going to Chicago, and this one's going to New York.
I just wrote that I'm like, really? And then the one bomb was dropped. I was like, oh wow. You don't give up, do you? Nope. That's one of my favorite quotes.
I love some of the banter between those two.
Yeah. Autopilot, and how did you develop that? I don't think that could be developed back then.
Probably not to the way that they have it, but autopilot in some form or fashion has existed for quite a while. It's because autopilot is basically just cruise control, which has also existed for quite a while.
8 o'clock on the date for a dance, basically for the dance when he dies, and that's like I don't think they planned that, but it's perfect how they ended that with Captain America and Infinity War. I was wondering how Captain America returned at the end at first. Like wakes up, but I guess he was frozen in ice. But who froze him?
He just the Arctic itself.
And I was like, what?
It doesn't make sense, but I mean, there's some give and take with this movie.
Yeah, that part, and like how you could have done a little better. I felt like
just you gotta give this movie like this movie is a mutual exchange.
Yeah, it was good. The movie was good. I just was hoping like I was hoping like there was like some technology they were studying, and that's how he got frozen in ice, basically. And but after after that, the consequences of after he damaged the like Tesseract machine, and then Red Skull dies while Captain America is being frozen.
Okay.
I was hoping something like that would happen.
Okay.
But instead,
No, he dies being a hero.
Yeah.
What do you not like about this movie? I didn't hear a whole lot of that.
Like some of the leaps in logic, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's just nitpicks.
Okay.
But it was like my nitpicks overwhelmed me.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
They like some of the things that don't make sense. I think like they could have made it make a little more sense. But that's nitpicks. I'm pretty sure everyone would not care.
Okay.
It's just my taste.
Okay. I have a feeling that's the end of your notes. For
I have a few more thoughts on it.
Okay.
I can go over my nitpicks if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Captain America should have shown a little more struggle, as he was mainly used as a, bonds man, as for his first fight. Like a little more struggle, not too much, because you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit more. But I would like suggest him leading more of the army and leading them to escape a little more.
Okay.
Like taking over the building.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that he's just like they inject him with fighting skills.
Yes. The ending a little bit because of the frozen ice thing. The end credit scenes of Captain America waking up in the future and basically them not looking up enough about Captain America's past to know he wasn't in that game, which I found interesting. And everything else like that, it was a little off logic, but for me, but I guess it was fine. I was wondering, remember they learned where the Tesseract, when they got the Tesseract at the end of the movie? So it wasn't just with Nick Fury the whole time?
Yeah, I don't know how it gets from Stark's hands to, where is it found in?
It's found in Loki, where in an underground base where S.H.I.E.L.D. has it.
Keep in mind the timeline. So, according to canon, according to canon, there is Agent Carter in between this. But for the movies, Captain America is directly preceding Captain Marvel in terms of timeline. So, we have to figure out how it got from Stark's hands into, I forget where it shows up in Captain Marvel.
Yeah. That part, I was going to leave that for Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, how? That's probably going to be part of my notes and skip over.
Alright.
Like, when I watched both of them, I'm like, okay, there's a plot hole here. Maybe you can explain in a book or like a comic.
We may have also just not been paying too much attention, which is possible, but I don't feel like they illustrated how I got from here to there.
True. That's basically all my notes on Captain America.
Okay.
Not too much wrong with it. It was basically an action movie, so I have to give it some plot holes.
Alright. So rather than do a traditional wiki skim explanation of what I know about Captain America, it'll probably become evident as I go through my notes. This man is propaganda man. To be fair, he wasn't, even back then, he wasn't just propaganda. He did have actual stories and things.
Yeah.
But the very first cover, Captain America comics, is him punching Hitler. And then he goes on to sell bonds. It's a bit on the nose. Interesting thing to know about Hydra. So they're Nazis, but not Nazis. In fact, they actually resemble a lot more like neo-Nazis today. They're ironically less socialist, which is weird. But they didn't come about until this revision of Captain America, about the 1960s, which is also when they created that he gets frozen in ice and then wakes up later plot. That wasn't like part of his original storyline, I guess.
Okay.
I actually really like Hydra as an organization. Although in the MCU they get a bit annoying with how frequent they come up as a plot point.
You wish that someone else was the main villain.
I wish they would do other villains. I wish it wasn't just Hydra in disguise. But like I do still like the, it's a Hydra. You cut off one head, they do more pop up.
And they're like, I think they over exaggerated the point a little, like, because
Yes.
no matter how many times you just kill them, they just never die.
Yes. Like in hindsight, I'm not that huge a fan anymore of this Hydra people, but I do like their organization. Some interesting trivia, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this in what I've now dubbed the Watch Later, but the original Journey. So I watched these on Amazon first before I caved in and got Disney Plus this last year. In order to make those scenes where Steve Rogers is smaller than everyone else, they had to shoot the scene like normal, and then they had to shoot the scene again with just Chris Evans, I think his name is, in order to Photoshop him down, and then like replace him back in the scene to be that small. Because like I don't know if you noticed it, Chris Evans is not that small in real life. He's not at all. He's trained to look like Captain America. I don't know about nowadays though. I think because I know he's done. Although we're going to be talking about that specifically much later.
Yeah.
I've always found it fascinating that Captain America's weapon is a shield. If you look at like other characters, even some other Marvel characters, you have people wielding guns, swords. They've got capes.
Hammers.
Hammers. Typically
Lasers.
weapons. Fists even. Weapons. Things to hurt people. Whereas Captain America has always just used a shield. I think designed to protect people. I think it also helps because, I don't know if you know, Captain America, even for the countries that like hate America, the people typically like the character Captain America. For a lot of people, Captain America represents what America is, well, the United States specifically, is supposed to represent. Standing up to bullies and freedom and protecting others. Whether or not that rings true today is a different podcast. I also love that they were able to essentially create a flashback episode, get away with having a flashback episode within a series of movies.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because this came out after Iron Man. After Iron Man 2, actually, I believe. I think it came out after Thor 2. Before the Avengers, I believe.
And they actually got away with it.
Yes, they got away with having an entire flashback episode, which is something you typically only get, like, even TV shows struggle to do successfully as a movie.
Which is bravo to them.
Yeah, not only that, they were able to get away with a flashback episode, they were also able to get away with the death of a character and their triumphant return in one movie.
Yeah.
Which is something that not even Infinity War and Endgame could do in one movie. Absolutely wild.
I find Captain America like a representative of like what you can possibly do, and like what is possible if you can in action movies. If you like, there's some plot you can have if you work really hard. You're never gonna be perfect. There's no way you're gonna be perfect in a movie. Someone's gonna poke holes in things you never even thought about, but you can try.
Speaking of action movie, I would much more classify this as historical fiction. I don't know if you've seen a whole lot of that.
I've seen a little of it. Do you think that you classify as that?
So I don't think they make a whole lot of historical fiction nowadays. It used to be really popular, but essentially, well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You take moments in history, but you add some element to them that makes it,
Different.
like a what-if scenario. In this case, they take the Nazis' love of occultism and use that as a plot point to set up a superhero. Or to set up a cinematic universe.
Sure.
But, although, I don't know if you can call it occultism anymore, because it's real. Like, everything they were studying is, well, not everything. most of the things they were studying actually real. Thor is real. Norse mythology is real.
Yeah.
Aliens are real.
Everything is real in the MCU.
I don't know if ghosts are real yet, but ghost surrogates are. See, you already talked about think outside the box, man. They nailed the aesthetic of the 40s, in my opinion. What do you think?
I feel like I couldn't, as well as I know about the 40s, yes, but I don't think I could like really nail the aesthetic of the 40s unless I had like a pictures and what we look at. Like,
I could have swore you were the guy that of the group that studied history.
I study history, yes, but from what I've read, 40s were, yes, some things were very different, but I remember there used to be not as many cars.
Okay.
Yeah, but I never read too much in big cities, so I'm like, maybe that was in the section of like maybe that was one of those big cities would had a lot of big cars in that time because it was just starting to be like that. But I'm not sure.
So like not only did they get the inaccurate predictions of the future and how everyone's obsessed with like, oh, the world of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find funny is that even though we live in a post Iron Man world,
yeah,
a lot of the things they predicted are still not true.
Yeah.
Most people don't have flying cars. Still.
There's a reason for that. Like scientists, like because people are too reckless with cars, they don't. The flying thing would have a constant hum.
Oh, I know why it's not in real life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the MCU specifically, where such moral quandaries don't really affect them that much.
Yeah. Like moral quandaries are problems don't affect them. You can make a silent flying car.
There's propaganda everywhere. Women advertise everything. If you want something to sell, just put a short, curly-haired woman on the front of it. Sell like hotcakes.
To be argued, it probably still would.
Probably. Actually, no. People's tastes have changed. They probably want someone with longer hair, but
longer hair, yes, but that's about it. May I direct you to some websites?
Oh, yeah. The most men's attitude towards women. They even nailed, like, because we obviously have not lived in the 40s.
No.
But when we think about these older times, we typically have, like, this sort of, like, grayish, brownish filter over everything that we look at in our minds. And they even put that in the movie, which is crazy. The only thing missing is the racism.
That wasn't... Some places had it worse than others, from when I researched. Some places, as you know, some places have supported the slaves, some people don't. It depends on where they were. In some places, yes. Some places, absolutely not. Especially on the front lines in war, they don't care. Most people didn't care. Honestly. As long as you did the soldier and you were a soldier, they did not care. And in some cities, like traveling around the world, that could be, like when he was traveling around the United States to do bonds, that could be like a part when you do it. But some cities didn't have as much back then.
I got a feeling I know why they may not have decided to portray it as accurately as possible, but it is a movie. You also touched on the corporatization of Captain America.
Yep.
Like turning him into a symbol rather than a hero.
Yeah.
I love that he just speed runs Captain America. For like that entire montage. They're even selling the first issue of Captain America comics in that movie.
Comic. Yeah, I saw that.
That raises the question. So do other heroes have comics?
I don't think so. In the MCU now, I don't think that's quite yet. From what I've heard from people on the stage, but I think they should. It would be a great meta joke.
And then you juxtapose that to like the actual army. Like I said, some dude in spandex shows up with a bunch of girls, and because he's trying to rally and morale the troops.
Yeah.
And like they don't care. They see right through it. It's an effort to sell bonds, to make the government money. This symbol is not for them. It's for the regular everyday people who don't actually know what war is like.
Which I found like, yeah, that's pretty much how regular soldiers act. Like I've studied the Vietnam War a little. Yeah, they didn't. Most of the time, they did not care what people came unless it was like women or like some songs. They try to cheer them up, but it was just miserable there.
I wrote down something about like the Red Skull and eugenics because I know it comes up in this movie twice,
Oh, right.
but I forgot exactly what my like larger plot point was on it.
Oh, you mean
Or my note was.
You mean he's like, we're superior?
Yeah, like, because I imagine he would want the world to be super soldiers, whereas like Hitler wanted the blonde-haired, blue-eyed people.
Yeah.
He wanted actually superior beings to rule the world.
Yeah.
You juxtapose this with Captain America, who builds like diversity squad, basically.
Yeah.
I like this movie. People are mixed on this movie, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so people feel like this movie wasn't, depending on where you go, people feel like this movie either was not like a below average movie or serviceable for what it's supposed to be. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. It's also like a really interesting piece of historical fiction. What are your final thoughts on this?
Final thoughts? Good movie. Has some plot holes, but otherwise good.
Okay. This movie is, I think I'd fall into the serviceable camp. This movie didn't blow me away or anything, but for what it's supposed to be, and for, what it's supposed to do, pretty good. I do kind of wish they leaned into the history aspect
Of it more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they leaned into more history aspects of it, but...
Although, I got a feeling, not that they knew how the world will shape up back then. How the world has shaped up now may be a good call.
Yeah. Also back then, I think when the movie was released, I feel like there was still a sensitive subject, so...
Oh, there's always been.
Yeah.
But, alright. Next in the... Oh, so it's actually Agent Carter that's next in the timeline. I think watching this movie again, I think I actually might have to check out Agent Carter. I don't know if we're going to do it for the journey, but like, at least on my own, this Agent Carter character seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I also found out there's a one-off and then there's a series of Agent Carter. The series also has the old, like that other actor Stark. Or, well, this actor Stark, not the old guy that we see in current MCU.
I might have to check it out myself, but for now.